Okay, that's a big cost. So when you look at needles, there's cost with everything. That's the provider, the doctor, the clinic, the facility, right? And then that right there is a lot of money. And then, it's inconvenient for you to get out there and of course the downtime. So you hear stem cell injections between like $5,000 to $15,000. You may hear cheaper versions of it, but you got to then question, well, why is it cheaper than other places? Because you're looking at maybe it's not the right tissue or they're kind of making some shortcuts because it's a lot of process. And then once you get it, it has its, expenses with that. Now, when you go to topical world, you eliminate the doctor, you eliminate the facility. Now you're at home. So that is, if you look at the retail price of that topical does the same type of information or signal as the injection. That's $1,000. Now, here's where it's going to be interesting about the future. It's going to move into the plant world. Once it goes in the plant world, now you're looking at a cost less than $100. So that's what I'm excited about. That's where we're moving towards.
Yeah. So, I mean, since we at the futures now, talk about the future recovery for athletes. So, you know, because it's going to be accessible, and do you find that plant stem cells is actually faster than human stem cells when it comes to regenerative?
It's going to be safer. It's faster. It Here's a problem when you look at human type of like a donor site versus plants, right? So we're not really going after the plant stem cell. We're looking at the actual like the information that these plants have, in its extract. So if you look at human tissue, we want the signals from the human tissue, the stem cells there. Just like the plant has its own extract, which is a similar signal. So when you think about those two signals, you want to find out, all right, do I want to take the risk of taking this human tissue and then taking it in our body? And then let's say it has some DNA or something that's from the human tissue, it may turn into something, right? So you have a risk factor. Now you look at the signal. Okay, let's just look at the signal and say, all right, the signal is there. I have that, and it's going to be, it's going to have its kind of strength with the signal. Now, if you can find the plant that has similar type of information and that signal strength, now it's a 1-to-1 ratio. Now the bottom line is that what's safer, cost, and deliverability. So that's how it's exciting right now. So as far as a potency, human tissue has its potency, but plants are evolving in the sense of educating and discovering, wow, that information is strong, it's very potent, and it has similar ability as the human side.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So for you, I know you said this is a cheat code for yourself because I mean, you're doing the research. Why not experiment on yourself, right? It's almost given like every almost a villain theme, like in every Marvel film. It's like, you know what? I'm a doctor. I'm gonna inject myself, like Lizard Man from Spider Man. Like it was like I'm gonna just inject myself to have regenerative attributes of a lizard. Um, where do you see this going? Besides the plants, do you think this can actually go out of hand where people just started growing extra stuff because just because?
When you look at the human side of things, you got to be careful because that's why the FDA really regulates about cloning. Cloning is where you may have problems. You remember Dolly the sheep that they cloned years ago?
Hmm.
The problem with that is that they've discovered that when you clone, like an existing, like a chromosome DNA and stuff like that, and you clone it into a fetus or a baby and it develops into adult, well, because of that half-life that you've taken it, let's say that that particular whole genes and set are aged at 1 through 100, but then when you obtain it halfway into it, now you're not at the 100 mark, at the 50 mark. That's why that one had a lot of complications with it.